everyone. The time is 6:32 p.m. on April 1st. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And no, having a budget meeting is not an April Fool's. I thought about that. People are going to think we're kidding. All right, Mary Jane, take it away.
Okay, last week we presented two scenario budgets, but since that time, we really had the opportunity to work closer with the town, and the budget we're presenting tonight will be the final budget based on the information we received from the towns. So I'm going to go through the slides a little bit more abbreviated than I did last time, but I did want to, for the folks that didn't see it the first time, let them see where we stand and how we got where we are today. So I just want to mention every time we create a budget, we continue to visit our strategic priorities, fostering relationships and looking to meet the needs of all students, and really making sure that we're getting, we focus on the whole child and develop a community that empowers every student. And we also look at our core values, and we revisit these core values almost every time we have our district leadership team to make sure that we're continuing to follow these values when it comes to all of the discussions we have at school. So the students come first always, and really it's about building relationships and being respectful communicators and making sure that we're a solutions-based district. And we really try hard to continue that in our core values. These were our budget objectives for 26, which also reflect back on those core values and the strategic priorities. So we always look what's best for our teachers and students instead of trying to do what's best with what we have. And I think the budget this year really has done a really good job of trying to hone in on that. We collaborated with town leadership, so the town did a really nice job helping us get where we are today. So I'm really excited to say that they've been very helpful, and it's been a great relationship. Looking to provide high quality instruction and making sure our students get the resources and materials they need. And again, making sure that we have all of the menu of services we can based on our restraints, and continue to grow our technology and looking at the infrastructure of our buildings. So our budget development starts in the late fall, and with that means researching what we need, what do the departments need, what do the teachers need, what are our priorities and our needs for the following year. So then we analyze everybody's needs, take a look at, where our priorities lie, what resources do we have, and where we see some of our deficiencies or where we have some holes we need to work on, and how we can continue to grow. With that, we create an action plan, which really works with our district leadership team to identify, really hone in on what do we really need, what do we need to be successful. So we want to make sure that students continue to get high quality instruction. And we do that by creating a budget that's manageable and creating the resources and materials that everybody has. And again, this process starts in the fall and really ends up in January, February, and where we are today. So it is a cyclical cycle. We revisit this stuff quite frequently. This year's a little different because we are not starting with a level service budget. Level service budget is defined as the same budget as last year, but last year we didn't get a level service budget, so it's really hard for us to say that we have that. So our proposed budget this year is less from 25 than it is from 26. But our current budget proposal is a reduction in services for the school community, but overall, we're pretty happy with what we're seeing this year. So how did the past two budgets impact our school? So as you know, the last couple of years, we've had to reduce some services in PE, social studies, library media specialist, special ed, band and instrument, although this year we did bring back, in 25, we did bring back the music teacher at the elementary school, so we were able to grow that. And cutting a little bit of our contracted services, administrative assistant, and then paraprofessionals. So again, this is where we started the year with these reduced services from the previous years. So when we started the budget this year, our initial budget deficit was $1,486,945. So we had a little bit of work to do. So we got this through a bunch of factors. On the next couple of slides, we'll talk about what that looks like. We are a minimum aid district. That means that we are a district that gets a foundation enrollment budget based on each student. It's multiplied by $30. In 26, the state contributed an additional $104 per pupil. So this is what we talk about for our SOA, our Student Opportunity Act. We get about $48,000. So we're a minimum aid district along with the other 233 districts in the state. So we don't really get a lot of money with that. So we have to include that in there. For FY26, our state funding did increase by 1.98, but it also required that the required local spending be increased by 6.6%. As we see, special education costs continue to increase every year. And you can see that the increase from 22 to 26 has grown. And specifically in the years 24 and 25, you've seen a significant increase. 26 is down a little bit. So we are trying to create programs to make sure that we send less students out of district and try to create opportunities for them here. So you can start to see these numbers and where some of our deficits are. Foundation budget is the budget that is allocated to the schools, and the foundation budget is in blue, but the inflation rate is actually in red. So you can see that the state's money that they allocate to the districts does not keeping up with the inflation rate. In a couple instances, 20, during the pandemic, you see a little bit of increase in 23. In 24, but overall, the inflation is definitely outpacing the money that we are getting in the district. So as with all districts, slow growth rate with increase of money does not do well with an increased inflation rate. So that's where we are. These are our expense drivers. Again, we talked about inflation. Transportation has really been a big component to our budget. That talks about students who have special needs, McKinney-Vento students that we send out to Smith Voc, and other non-standard runs that we do. We have to really take a look at what's happening at the high school. A lot of the systems and structures and the building itself is very old, so improvements have to be made. So we have to really keep that in mind when we're creating our budget to make sure that we continue to have resources to make sure that the building is maintained. Special education costs continue to grow, and that also includes students with high needs. So these are our expense drivers. Now, this is our budget for 2026. This is where we started. If you take a look at, I think I have to get up because I can't see this. Too far away for me.
I need to take a microphone.
Oh,
I can pick you up.
okay. So if you take a look at the increase in Chapter 70 budget this year, you can see that it increased by $96,000, the 1.9% increase. Our required local spending also went up to $422,000. Good news is when we created our in-kind expenses this time, when we created our budget for the two scenarios we had, we overestimated or we were conservative with our in-kind estimates, I guess, right? So that's where we were able to find some additional funds. So that increased by 2%. And then our process for grants went down a little bit for the FY26 outlook. But again, the offsets and the grants are still in flux, so we don't know what that's going to look like. So the pie chart of where the vast majority of our funding comes from, you can see that the state only provides 35% of the funding for districts. The districts are required to really, our funding source is about 46% plus an additional 4%. So 48% of the school budget comes from the town. So you can see.
That's for this district.
For this district.
Yes.
That's this district.
Yes.
Yeah. So after we did a little bit of work, we found out that we had a deficit of $335,000. So that being said, we had a little bit more work to do. So how are we going to get to a balanced budget? So we worked with the town leadership, and I must have missed it, but the town did agree when we started the budget presentation that they would give us the additional $600,000 they've been giving us the last 3 years. So that's how we got to $335,000.
It's coming up.
Coming up, okay. So we did make some strategic budget cuts due to personnel, supplies, and services, and really where we had some flexibility, circuit breaker, revolving accounts, and we had to make some difficult decisions if we have to do the $335,000. So getting to our reduced service budget, this is a little chart of how we got there. These are some of the cuts we made. going back to 26, and jumped it out, went through every department, and made some cuts, with the exception of, athletics and the nursing department. You know, we really did some, we were not increasing those, we cut some of them, but for the most part, we increased just for that the funds. This is how we break our budget up into, how we spend it. And that's a very staffing and facilities. So East Meadow, a high school and special ed costs 70% of our budget.
What's that little-
And transportation, we cut the technical transportation is only 11% of our budget.
What's that little teeny tiny sliver between athletics and district?
Athletics and district?
Yeah, this little red. No, athletics is
There's-
blue. What's the red?
You get my
What is that?
active chart.
I didn't notice that. I don't know that.
Or if the little red one
I
is
see
your
it.
athletics, then what is the blue?
Yeah.
So the red one is the curriculum department.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If we could
It's
identify
twos,
that on there,
it's-
that'd be great.
Look at her go. I didn't notice that. How did I that?
The chart itself won't produce it because it's
Okay,
too small.
all right.
It's too small.
I can make.
So we were able to close the deficit. The town said they could provide us our additional $600,000 of the minimum requirements, but that has to be approved at the town meeting. And the original budget we built in kind was very conservative. So the 5 in kind estimate is 270,000 less than the original budget.
Can we just go back to the town leadership thing?
Yep.
Were we told that they're breaking out the 600,000 as a separate item?
No.
Okay, so it's just gonna be part of yes, it has to be approved, but I don't want people to have the wrong idea. It's not going to be a separate warrant article. It's gonna be within our fully itemized budget, that extra 600,000. So we have had to go on town floor and ask for additional money at times that needed to be approved by the 2/3 majority of townspeople at the meeting. So this is in a different way. It's part of the actual budget. It's a line
Correct, it's-
item in the actual budget.
Right.
Okay, I just wanna, for myself and for others.
That's a good point, because often that's right, if there's a different number on the floor, that's when you would have to do that, but yeah, this is part of that actual.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do you mind if we clarify for folks who might be listening, what the chargebacks or in-kind services include? Things like health insurance, maintenance of fields.
The school resource officer, retirees benefits, services provided by the town administration. So part of the payroll services, processing W-2s. Those are really the bulk of them.
Okay.
Because we do our own filing now.
Correct. We do our own plowing, but the town will take care of the storm drains in the parking lot. They will sweep the sand from the winter, some of those things, as well as the mowing, some of the mowing and some of the field maintenance.
And so this is sort of, are we a year behind with the chargebacks, or do you come up with an agreement at the beginning of the year? as to
So
what those
I'm
chargebacks
provided
will
with an
look like?
estimate for the upcoming fiscal year from the town administrator.
Okay,
It's built right into the budget.
okay.
So, the total, cost reduction, the total, $704,326,000 cut from the original budget submitted in December. These are what we talked about in our budget discussion. So there'll be a reduction of 8.5 FTAs, so that requires some retirements and resignations. For elementary teaching positions, paraprofessionals, social workers, special education teacher, and some administrative assistants as well as administration. So we reduced some funding for professional development, reduced supplies and materials, we eliminated some stipends, reduced category 2 funding for technology, reduced our contracted services and special education, and we provided some technology repairs and reduced custodial supply. So these are some of the impacts that we made to get us where we are.
May I ask a question here? How many elementary teaching positions, FTE, are we looking at reducing?
We have a retirement.
Retirement.
But what will that then do to class size? Because the kids have to go somewhere.
Doesn't, so we didn't need to, we were concerned that we were gonna shift that grade level position depending if our kindergarten numbers were big enough to warrant an additional classroom, but they aren't.
Okay.
So we're able to maintain this class sizes, with not filling the retirement.
And what's the kindergarten class size?
It's 35.
Was,
this
But
year?
between multiple classes.
Yeah,
right,
there's 2 classes.
Right.
One of 17, one of 18. It's similar next year.
okay.
So I think it was the 3rd grade.
No.
That there was a
Second grade.
2nd grade.
And where are the paraprofessionals? What's the FTE there?
It would be district-wide. We're looking at IEPs.
They do so much work, yeah.
Yeah. No, we have the ability, we work with this, with the staff and making sure the special ed department, looking at some of the staffing that we had. Some students no longer need 1-to-1, sometimes they're 2-to-1s, those types of services. So we're not eliminating paraprofessionals for students who need the services. We've looked at students' IEPs, where can we combine maybe a 2-to-1 for students, or maybe even a 3-to-1. And we're also developing a classroom where we can help students who have some needs and really get paraprofessionals in that area instead of having,
So being able to be supported by that program teacher along with a couple of, I'm using couple as not the hard and fast number,
Right,
of
right.
paraprofessionals rather than those students having one-to-ones going into other classrooms that it wasn't the best situation. They weren't getting the best services.
Okay.
So it becomes a bit more of an efficient model to deliver services.
And that's where I was getting to with my questions, because with the reduction of the elementary teachers, the paras, the social, we don't know where, I don't know where the special ed teacher is. Is that district-wide?
So that's part of reorganizing through a resignation. It's not an elimination of it, it's a reorganization of it.
Okay, because the kids' needs, as
Right,
you all
right.
know, are not less every year, they're more every year.
Mhm.
so I just, before I start talking, all of the teachers, these positions are going to be reductions. None of these teachers will be, I
Right.
guess, ripped. We're not ripping
Right.
anybody this year.
Right,
So that's a positive. So
That is a
we'll see if we can
positive.
actually Find other ways to get the services. We just try to make it a little more streamlined and without sacrificing the services for the students.
and I was happy to look and see today that Granby was not on the list of districts that had not yet fully spent the ESSER money.
Oh, no, we were on that.
Hallelujah.
We had no choice, honestly. We were using it to supplement our budget since it's been available.
Well, and so that's what most districts did. I
Services are
just,
very
you look
heavy.
at the district to our
Can we
south,
borrow
it's off
something?
74 million. How does that even happen?
They probably didn't need it in the first place, is my guess.
Probably with the SOA money, that's true.
So if anyone is willing to donate, Granby will happily
They-
accept some.
Again, ideally, we'd love to get back to level services, but we are really, really making the most of, DLT, special ed department, we have really worked hard to make the impact as least, the impact is lessened.
Quick question before we move on. The reduction of the 8.5 FTE this year, that's in addition to the 10 last year? So it's just for the people watching, the schools have lost 18.5 positions in the last 2 years.
This will be the third year.
Third year, so
Over the
18.5.
So as I said, now level service.
Okay.
It's a reduction in service.
Like I said, we did bring back the music. We had that.
Well, music's important to
It is,
kids.
it is.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully through, you'll start to see some retirements in a few years, and maybe there's some way that we can try to get us back where we need to be, but.
And to say it again for the people in the back, no reduction in force this year, no pink slips,
there's
you guys have done a phenomenal job getting us to the point where we didn't have to hand out any pink slips for anybody. That is
It's
phenomenal, because it was daunting initially.
And I want to thank the town because they really worked really well with us this year, and I think that they heard us. Again, we always want more, but we want for our students, but, so we're really glad I think teachers are feeling really good. We had met with our union leadership and we met with each of the schools and we told them that, you know, we were hopeful. And I think they're pretty happy about that. So this is just where we reduced the budget initially from the initial budget. And you can see we didn't touch three departments: athletics, nursing, and transportation. So you can see that transportation went up. But we did quite a bit out of our curriculum, but we realized that we have what we brought up from last year. We have a lot of the materials for the new math, and we're able to negotiate some new things with that. So that does look significant, but everybody was really good to work with us and see what can they do to help us support this budget. So this is where we are. So this year, Granby will be asking for $12,450,000, $12,450,413 for the total operating increase from FY25 at 3.37%, and an increase of $405,000. That's what's going to be in this one.
Yeah, I have to say, well done.
Excellent, excellent, excellent job. You guys have put an incredible amount of work into this, and I appreciate it. So, and especially the hours of work is unfathomable to the outside person, I'm sure.
We seem to be in better shape than some of our neighboring towns.
We've been having, it's not our first rodeo,
No,
being in tough times.
Right.
Number one. Number two, we've been running a lot leaner than a lot of other places. So I think a lot of extras and bonuses and nice to haves are starting to catch up with people because the loss of ESSER money and things like that. We were predicting this when COVID first started, your first year. We were making these adjustments because we knew as soon as the ESSER money ran out, we were going to be potentially in a lot of trouble.
that's that fiscal cliff we've heard about for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And folks should have been planning for that, right? I'm grateful on behalf of the students and the teachers that not only you all worked so hard, but that the folks on the town side were so willing to see the need here. Because the schools, the community is only as strong as the schools that are in it. And it's critically important. So I'm very grateful for that work.
Just barely hanging on here.
We are. Again, this is not, you know, we definitely would like to see some growth but compared to other districts, I guess it's a win. And it's a win that everybody is secure in their job next year, which is uncertain for lots of folks. So I have to say, I'm proud that we're able to do that.
Thank you.
Not that I want to jeopardize anything, but I'm worried if with any of the current administration changes to Department of Ed, are we confident with, I know you said something that you were doing something with the grants, like we were keeping them where we're at.
So I'm using the same estimates I have based on enrollment. So as our enrollment declines a little, I'm reducing those couple of federal grants that we have to not over project.
Right.
There is so much uncertainty that I don't want to predict what may happen with the title grants for education.
And no one knows. It's not like we're, you know, so every district in the Commonwealth is on the same page. Like we can't, you know, we have to vote in a budget. Everyone have to have it done. So.
Correct. And yes, it would take a significant lift to reevaluate where we are if those federal funds don't exist next year. And we won't find that out until
August.
August. As we're approaching.
Did you see the guidance that came from the federal level today on the Title I money? We don't know what the final number is going to be, but in reading it over, and I'll forward it to you, it came through the National School Boards Association. It looks like, by and large, that it's coming to the states to go to the school districts, and it's asking school districts like it's a big new process to do things we're already doing. To help kids access things through Title I money that maybe they couldn't, like dual enrollment. Like tutoring, which is happening through that money anyway, right?
I think
We
Massachusetts.
already
is,
have
yeah.
those as part of our process, and
Right.
so that's where I was hopeful. I don't like to approach budgets, they're much more concrete than hopeful.
Hopeful.
But in that Massachusetts already had that framework in place to provide for the students'
That's right.
needs. So that as long as DESI maintains its approach, its current approach, that distribution should be similar. And so we do have to wait, obviously, for that to play out. But I think we have the structures in place to maintain the services for our students.
Excellent. So this will be on our April 11th for vote.
15.
15.
Why don't I keep saying the 11th? I
That's
don't-
probably right.
That's a statement of interest statement.
Oh,
We have
maybe that's why I had too many different things. So April
15.
15th.
And then we will send it to the town, so it can be prepared for the May annual town meeting,
Which one is
even
what?
though it will likely be acted on in the Part 2 June meeting, but it
Mhm.
has to be there for the May.
It has to all be compiled.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this?
No, I have to say, wonderful job from the administration side. That was really fantastic.
Both
And,
sides.
I think the only bad thing about this budget is now the surrounding towns know that we have a very good fiscal administration. So they'll be trying to poach you. Hopefully you stay.
Well worded.
Yeah.
You know, he graduated from Granby.
Yeah, no.
Go Rams.
Yeah.
He bleeds Granby Bird, just like me. All right, if there aren't any other questions, I will take the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Thanks, everybody.